going on, ladies and gentlemen? And today we have a really cool 1,000-round range review. We're going to be going very in-depth and diving into everything you would possibly need to know about the Zastava M90, a beautiful 5.56 AK that truly really did impress me at the range. We're going to go ahead and go over the specs of the weapon, the overview of this build in particular. We're going to talk about some first impressions of the gun and some first shots at the range. We are of course going to go over the performance of this weapon over the 1,000 rounds we shot through it, including an accuracy test and an incredibly scientific ballistic study. We're going to go ahead and compare the M90 to a couple other guns in the same class. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and go over what I feel are the best uses for this firearm, and then answer the question, should you buy this weapon? So let's go ahead and dive into the specs. So the Zastava M90 is going to be a 5.56/223 Yugoslavian style AK build. We have an 18.25 inch chrome line barrel with an overall weight of 8.5 pounds and an overall length of 39 inches. This model does come from the factory with an adjustable gas block and one 30-round detachable mag. Firearm is actually made in Serbia and was then imported to the US through Zastava Arms USA, letting us get this bad boy right here in the States. The model we have here on the channel today did come with this beautiful Serbian redwood furniture, which I just thought was an absolute overall vibe and incredible aesthetic to the system. For this build specifically, I did want to kind of keep it a little bit old school AK, but we did go ahead and add a couple of aftermarket parts. On the furniture of this gun, I did go ahead and throw on a little bit of goon tape in a couple of areas, just to give me a little bit of better grip on the gun, absorb some of that heat in the front handguard, and just for the vibes. We are also running this little guy right here, an AK thumb grip that gives you just a little bit more real estate to grab on and charge the system. On the front of this build, we are running a Midwest Industries light and laser mount that I have a PowerTac flashlight hooked up to, and we are also running a 2-port Zenico clone brake on the front of this gun. And we'll talk about some other muzzle devices we used later on in the video. So taking this gun right out of the box, my first impressions were really just how clean it looked. The Serbian redwood on this AK is truly just something beautiful. I really do enjoy my M-Lock tactical AKs, but for this Yugo style build, there was just something about that wood furniture that just really did it for me. Cycling the action out of the box felt really good. It was really smooth and crisp. Despite the 18.25 inch barrel, this gun felt incredibly light to me, especially for an AK. And I was also a huge fan that this did come with an adjustable gas block right from the factory. The iron sights on this guy are good, nothing too crazy, just our traditional AK sights. And this model did come with a side mount rail if we wanted to add an optic. Overall, the first impressions were I got a very lightweight Yugoslavian AK platform out of the box with all of our traditional AK features, plus an adjustable gas block and a chrome line barrel. I was actually incredibly pumped that this gun was chambered in 223 5.56. Of course, I do really have an appreciation for our 7.62x39 AK platforms, but being in the States, having a 223 AK is just a little bit more of a practical option. So I was really smitten with this beauty, but just like my ex-girlfriend taught me, looks aren't everything, so let's take it to the range and get some first shots and first impressions. Let's run it. So I guess the first thing that you notice about this is that it is chambered in 223. Usually I'm used to picking up an AK and kind of getting a little bit more thump with that 7.62x39 caliber. So shooting the 223 out of these Zastava M90 is actually a very pleasant recoil impulse, and the gun shoots pretty well. Definitely able to get very fast follow-up shots with that just because of the low recoiling nature of that 223 cartridge. So I was absolutely thrilled with the first shots out of this bad boy. I really felt like I was kind of getting the best of both worlds, kind of fulfilling my love for the AK platform, but also kind of getting speedier splits and shots with less muzzle flip and less recoil due to the 223 cartridge. And it also really helps that 223 is a heck of a lot cheaper than 7.62x39. And thankfully, the good vibes from those first shots really did just continue for the rest of the review. We ran about 500 rounds through this, absolutely no hiccups, no malfunctions, was running very fast, very smooth, and I was just having a ton of fun. Again, being a 223 gun, we had a very pleasant recoil impulse, my shoulder never got sore, and I really do feel like the gun is somehow a little bit lighter than I'm used to despite the longer barrel. I had absolutely no problem keeping this gun up for the whole 1,000 rounds. So the first couple hundred rounds we shot out of the M90 here were with just the traditional AK slant brake that the gun came with, but we had some cooler options, so we were checking them out. You know, this wouldn't be the MuzzleBroke channel if we didn't add something to make it truly a little bit more obnoxious and irritating, so we do have a very large 2-port Zenico clone muzzle brake on this bad boy. Now, we shouldn't have any malfunctions, but sometimes for some of the more finicky systems, when you add kind of a ridiculous muzzle device, it does kind of cause some issues. So we'll see if that happens too. Let's run some build drills with it, see how it performs. So that was a 1.15, and I don't know if you could tell on film, but adding this brake makes this, like, it deletes the recoil completely. Like, here, I'm not even gonna hold it with both hands. Like, there is straight up no muzzle rise at all with this muzzle device. Actually, a ton of fun to shoot with this brake on. And then of course we had to test it out with the Dead Air Wolverine suppressor. So one of the most interesting things about the ZPAP M90 is that it actually does come from Zastava with an adjustable gas tube, which is really cool, to actually make this a really good suppressor host. Now typically suppressing an AK is just not my most favorite thing to do, just because of that long stroke gas piston system. It typically does have a pretty violent nature in the reciprocation of that bolt, and also can be quite a bit gassy. But we're gonna test this guy out. We do have this hooked up to the Dead Air Wolverine suppressor today, so we're gonna fire some rounds and kind of give my thoughts on the M90 suppressed. It's actually kind of surprising that it's not as gassy as I thought it would be. I mean, I've shot a lot of AK suppressed. I have a traditional AKM that I shoot with the Wolverine. I have the RPK we shoot with the Wolverine. And actually the Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch, which we have here that we'll compare this to in a bit. This is actually the least gassy AK that I've shot suppressed, and it's actually really pleasantly surprising. So to me, I think how this gun shot suppressed was actually the most surprising part of the review. Like I said at the range, I'm typically not a huge fan of suppressing AKs. They're just gassy and hot, and it's just usually not my favorite thing to do, but this one was a ton of fun to shoot suppressed. There was really no significant gas blowback, and that just made it very sustainable to shoot hundreds of rounds with our Wolverine suppressor without bringing me to tears from the gas. And to really kind of show you how well this gun did suppressed, we went ahead and compared that to one of my other AKs that I typically do shoot with the suppressor. So here we do have the Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch, which I do really want to compare the Zastava M90 to. The reason being is both of these are obviously AK platforms. Although the Quick Hatch here is chambered in 7.62x39, they both do have adjustable gas systems. The Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch does have an adjustable gas block, and the Zastava M90 does have this adjustable gas tube. So here's that 7.62x39 Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch with the Griffin Armament Bushwhacker 46. All right, you saw how much gas just popped up from that? This is a gassy gun to shoot suppressed. And then we're gonna directly compare that to the M90 by Zastava. I mean, I could see it in my face, and I'm sure you could see it on camera. When I'm shooting the Quick Hatch suppressed, there is just an absolute cloud of smoke and gas. Versus the M90, I mean, there's a little bit of gas, but it really is not anything substantial, especially for an AK platform. I mean, super easy to see in that comparison that this gun was a hell of a lot gassier than the M90. So after the Zastava M90 essentially outshot an AK that's triple its price, I wanted to go ahead and compare it directly to an AR-15 chambered in .223. The first thing I did is kind of went and compared the recoil of both of these guns. I mean, in my opinion, the recoil is very, very similar. Despite this being an AK, a traditionally a little bit more violent platform, this wasn't really snappy, it didn't jump too much, the recoil was very manageable. So because they are so similarly recoiling, I'm actually curious to see which platform I could shoot just a little bit faster with, so let's run some build drills. So it was a 1.16. It's actually a 1.23. So I was able to shoot just a little bit faster with the Zastava M90 compared to our .223 AR. So again, just very thrilled with how this Zastava M90 was performing. At about the 800 or so round mark, after we put a ton of rounds through the gun, I did want to go ahead and test the accuracy of the system now that it's been fired quite a bit. So we are at the back of the range, we're about 40 yards or so. Now I am just running iron sights on the M90 here. We'll go ahead and pump about 5 rounds down range. Go ahead and check that grouping just to make sure the gun is accurate. All right, let's go see how we did. I'm actually very pleased with this grouping. We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. I mean, though they're all about within an inch of each other. And again, I'm not running any sort of precision optic. I'm just rocking the iron sights, but a very good practical accuracy for the Zastava M90. I was happy with that group. The fact that we do have an 18.25 inch chrome line barrel is gonna give us a ton of twist and velocity in that .223 round, further accurizing the system. And something that I was kind of thinking about over the course of this review is just how speedy and ballistically effective that .223 round would be out of this longer 18.25 inch barrel. So we did some incredibly scientific and well-learned ballistic testing. So this empty can of White Monster here is the exact consistency of a little soy boy's bones. So we're gonna see how that .223 round out of the Zastava M90 with that 18.25 inch barrel will affect a soy boy. So we have our holes there in the can, but that wasn't much fun. Let's try it with something else. All right, so obviously we were joking about the scientifics, but I will say that .223 round out of this barrel length is gonna be incredibly useful. So let's kind of tie this into what I would really use this weapon for. To me, I think this Zastava M90 is actually a really incredible crossover between a super fun range toy and an actual very viable defensive platform. At the range, being a low recoiling, fast shooting .223 caliber gun, it's just a ton of fun. You can blast through rounds incredibly fast, you're not getting much muzzle flip, you have an accurate platform that you could suppress if you want, and it was just an overall really good time. But because of the nature of the .223 223 round, you're actually getting an incredible amount of velocity out of this over 18-inch barrel. So in my opinion, this really could work as a home defense or ranch defense gun. Again, not to mention that the 223 round is quite a bit cheaper. So regardless if you wanted to really train with it for a defensive situation or just have fun at the range, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck out of the Zastava M90 than you would like a traditional 7.62x39 AK. So let's go ahead and tie everything together about the Zastava ZPAP M90. Should you buy this gun? And my answer to that is going to be absolutely 100% hands down. The AK market in the US is just a little bit more expensive overall. I really don't think you're going to get a good AK for anything less than $1,000. And the fact that the Zastava M90 from the factory comes with a chrome line barrel, adjustable gas block, and just incredibly nice furniture with a very smooth action really kind of makes it a no-brainer for if I would buy it. Now, we ran through 1,000 rounds with this guy at the range, and we did not have a single malfunction or hiccup in this system at all. No failures to feed, no failures to extract, literally nothing. Which, again, for the price point, I think is a great deal. We also got an AK that I actually enjoyed shooting suppressed, which is incredibly rare because I don't normally do that. Being able to comfortably shoot suppressed with an AK is truly something impressive. So I have really enjoyed my time with the Zastava M90 here. We have a very beautiful weapon, shooting a very common and inexpensive round that we can tune very well to shoot suppressed, that shoots incredibly fast and incredibly flat, and has a high quality barrel and parts from the factory for a good price point. To me, this is an absolute no-brainer. I hate to do this range review and not give you a single negative thing about the gun, but there's really not much that I can think of. The only thing that may give you a little bit of a hiccup with the M90 is just that it is a Yugo pattern AK, so it's not going to fit traditional AKM furniture, but that's pretty easy to work around. So there, you can't say I didn't say something negative. But to be incredibly honest with you, this is, I think, the most fun range review we've done on the channel. The Zastava M90 and the Serbian Redwood with the goon tape and just kind of old school vibes really just did excite me, and I had a ton of fun with this project. I really do appreciate you guys watching this video with us today. We have a ton of fun doing these range reviews, and we love when you guys comment down below and give me your opinions on the build or what I did right, or God forbid what I did wrong. But let me know down below, what are your thoughts on the Zastava M90? And make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel because we are going to have a ton more content featuring the Zastava M90 as well as some other awesome guns here in the very near future. Now, y'all have a very safe week, and I will catch you guys at the next MuzzleBroke video.